Hi, it's Bill Wyman on the phone.
I don't know, say hi, is that Axel speaking? My name's Bill, you know, I love your music. Do you fancy playing with us?
So have you always got that feeling then of being slightly inferior?
Well, I was always a bit shy. Even in the Stones, that's why I was always back in the shadows and didn't leap about.
Well, you look miserable.
Yeah, the Americans used to think I looked dangerous. They always thought I was the one with the knife, you know, which is totally not me. And I got over that, but I never got over standing still, basically. They used to call me your favourite undertaker and things like that when I was on stage. And I was shooting partridge because I used to have my face up like that, you know. But I wasn't doing that. I was shielding my eyes from the lights like I am now, so I could see the girls. I'd had an awful year. That silly marriage I had fell to bits. I was dealing with legal things. My father died when I was in Japan. At the same time, my son had gone off and wasn't close to me anymore, although he was we were on the divorce. I got custody of him, and he was dear to me, and we stayed together for years until then, and then he went off. And just, I had to take care of my mother. She was on her own, and I'd left the band and so on, and it was just like change everything. And I did, and I've never regretted it.
Well,
and the last 15 years have been the best years of my life, the greatest and loveliest and the happiest.
So was that just a craziness then, that whole high-profile, difficult time in your personal life?
Well, that life can ruin everything. I mean, you've seen it in the press. I mean, everybody, they get involved in alcoholism, drugs or whatever, that break up homes, marriages, relationships. You can't hold it together when you're on the road 9 months a year, you know, all over the place, and people have thrown themselves at you and all that. It's not a normal life at all. And everybody thinks it's romantic and exciting. It's hard life. It's really, you've got to devote yourself, body and soul to it.
But people were critical of you then, because of who you chose them, and of course her age.
Who cares? You know, it's nothing to do with them, really. You make mistakes in your life. Everybody makes mistakes in their life. We all do. But if you're a taxi driver in Halifax, no one knows about it. If you're me, they do. Or if you're somebody else, David Bowie or someone, they'll hear about it. Or Rod Stewart, but they won't hear about it if you're a regular person working in a garage or something. That we all have those skeletons in our cupboard, and we have to deal with them. And I did, and I moved on and did the right thing, and here I am now.
Was Suzanne a bit of a lifesaver?
I'd known Suzanne 13 years before I proposed to her. But the great thing was, they left the door open for 2 years in case I changed my mind, and they were always asking me if I'd changed my mind or not. And in the end, it got to 1994, and they were going to tour, 94 or 5. I think it was Voodoo Lounge tour or something. And Mick and Charlie came to my flat and stayed the whole evening trying to persuade me to stay in the band. And I said, I left 2 years ago.
Paul Sexton wrote in the Times that when you talk about the Stones, sometimes you sound like somebody who's escaped an abusive relationship.
Well, that's maybe why I have those dreams. You know, they were wonderful times. They really were. I enjoyed every minute of it, but it always got in the way of things for me. I was never able to see my son grow up properly. I could never take him to a park and play football with him, or take him to feed the ducks, or go to a cinema with him or anything, because the fans just wouldn't let you do that. And also I wasn't there. And I wasn't there half, you know, 3/4 of the time. And one day I looked round and he's 11, 12 years old, and I missed everything. And I swore that would not happen if I ever had children again, which it hasn't now.
So you've been a far better father this time round with your 3 daughters?
Well, I think I was a good father then, but it was just so difficult because I was hardly there, you know. Whenever I got home, I was with him all the time, you know, and took him places where I could take him. But I have more time with the children now because I work from home all the time, and the only time I go away, and it takes a lot to get me leave home, and that is with the Rhythm Kings twice a year. 5 or 6 weeks, once in Europe and once in the UK, where I can also get home a lot of the time, just to do that. The rest of the time, I'm at home working on projects, and I see them every day.
There's a great quote from Tom Leonard in The Telegraph. Wyman is like the convent-educated schoolgirl who is let loose into the flesh pots of Soho, only in reverse. I think it might be the metal detector that's making him think this way.
It's just
Which is
another
a
hobby.
great passion.
Well, it isn't metal detecting, it's archaeology that,
Right.
that I love. You know, I should have been a curator of a museum or a librarian or something instead of a rock and roll star. Normal as I possibly can be and live a perfectly normal life and do normal things if I'm able to be led to do them. You know, I drive myself, I don't have security man, I don't go in limousines, I use London taxis, go shopping, I try to do normal things in life because they're the important things, I think.
But you seem to love the photography, the Rhythm Kings now, you love football, you're a Crystal Palace fan.
You have to be, I love it to be a Crystal Palace fan.
You play on the charity cricket circuit. It's like kind of the Rolling Stones.